Hi folks, I make you welcome to Politics Around the World on Enterprise Television. I am Henry Igwebike. To kickstart our show today, let's begin from the beautiful continent of Africa, where we have it that Egyptian warship has delivered a second major cache of weaponry to Somalia, including anti-aircraft guns and artillery meant to build the capabilities of the Somali army. The shipment reaffirms Egypt's ongoing central role in supporting Somalian efforts to develop the national capabilities necessary to fulfill the aspirations of the Somali people for security, stability, and development, but in a move to likely stoke further friction between the two countries and Ethiopia. For many who might not have a clue on the issue in contention, let me run you through with some backstory here. In January of 2024, Ethiopia, which all we know is a landlocked country, enraged Mogadishu by agreeing to a preliminary deal with the breakaway region of Somaliland to lease a humongous chunk of land which they intend to use as a seaport in exchange for possible recognition of the Republic of Somaliland independence from Somalia. To further add salt to injury, Ethiopia stationed 3,000 of its soldiers, ladies and gentlemen, in Somalia as part of a peacekeeping initiative called the African Union Transition Mission in Somalia, aimed to suppress an armed uprising, while an estimated 5,000 to 7,000 soldiers are deployed in other regions under a bilateral agreement. Not folding its arms, obviously, and allowing an illegal secession, Somalia bred ties with Egypt, prompting Cairo to send several plane loads of arms to Mogadishu, Somalia's capital, after the country signed a joint security pact in August. Right there, folks, you see why it's almost impossible to have a locus in core, or a land where there is a relative peace, but around it and looking around could just be a covert narcissist who is ready to sow a seed of a discord. Well, that's what's happening in that part of the continent that is Africa. And from that fracas brewing between Egypt, Ethiopia, and Somalia, let's head to the Middle East, where we equally have Israel, Lebanon, and its neighbor Palestine engaged in another unending feud. There is no denying, ladies and gentlemen, here that Israel's war on Gaza has grounded its vital economic sectors to a halt, obviously. We're close to a year since October 7. More than 60,000 lives have been lost, unfortunately, in this very avoidable conflict in the region. However, what makes it sadly interesting is the fact that Hezbollah, an Iranian proxy, had invited itself to the party and had made those living in the north side of Israel migrate off. Unfortunately, about 400,000 of them actually have left that part of Israel to other parts of Israel for their safety. What has not been talked about, ladies and gentlemen, here, however, is the strain economically that this is having on Israel as it faces its deepest decline in years. With military spending ballooning, borrowing skyrocketing, thousands of highly educated and skilled workers leaving Israel for their safety to different parts of the world, while attracting new talents to the country that is Israel seems extremely challenging. It's obvious here, folks, that Israel's revenue is gradually drying up, maybe except the trickle that still comes in from the United States of America. The big question, the catch question, ladies and gentlemen, is how much of this war can Israel sustain? To talk to us more on this, I have with me Cyril Abako, a journalist and a well-rounded individual when it comes to international politics. Now, the question is, just like I did say, how much of this war can Israel sustain?
Well, Israel owes its very existence to warfare. So they've always been at war. They fought wars from the very day they were declared into a state in 1948. They've been fighting wars up until now. In fact, the question has always been, when will the next war come? Unfortunately, the Gaza war was sort of thinning out. Then the next thing, they opened up the frontier with Hezbollah in Lebanon. you know that even the Houthis have told Israel that they're waiting for them.
Yeah, exactly.
In a manner of speaking. So it would be that if Hezbollah's war ended, they would turn to face the Houthis in Yemen. So, but the thing is, Israel isn't necessarily the person fighting this war on its own. I think that Israel has sort of unwittingly become, well, how shall I put it, some proxy outpost for the United States. America has sent, at the last count, 500 shipments. 500 solid shipments of weapons to Israel.
So financially, it's possible that Israel might not run dry anytime soon.
And when you talk of critical talent, Israel has the capacity and capability to wage war. I mean, Israel owes its very. You see, Israel isn't fighting from a point of rest. They are fighting for their survival. They are fighting. They are fighting to assert themselves that they have the right to stay on the territory. So even when they're surrounded by all enemies, this is how they've always survived.
So the DNA of a people. So the DNA of a people is just to fight.
Israel's the Mossad, the Haganah, the IDF. Israel's warfare even predates Israel. It was by war that Israel was born. So what do you expect them to do? I mean, all over the world, we saw what happened with the Holocaust, with during World War II. Yeah. So they are vowed to run, even before the Holocaust. There was the whole Dreyfus affair. So Israel has largely been fighting to survive. If they don't fight, they know that, okay, so if you don't fight, you are at risk. If you fight, you are at risk. They have to choose the option. Someone said that they said in war there's no non-risky option. That in war there's no, but for Israel, even when they're not at war, they know that they have aggressors from their own point of view. So they always just have to fight. I think there's a name they call it. Wake up and there's a book they call Rise Up and Kill First. Because if you don't, you'll be killed.
So Benjamin Netanyahu obviously is the right man for this job. Is that what you're saying?
The argument has been made. In my view, I take it that he may have over pushed this whole thing. For example, the Gaza, how many Israelis died? And then how many people?
1,400 actually.
Yes, and then how many people have died on the other side, running close to 50,000 or more. But again, they say if you slap me, how do you determine what my response should be? So again, they've stretched this whole thing in Gaza. Now they've turned to face Lebanon, Hezbollah. Yes. Now the Lebanese government is waiting for the US to call Israel to order. But I don't know how soon that is going to be.
All right, so when we talk about an all-out war, which of course Joe Biden has said is possible. Now, what is the gravity of an all-out war? Are we thinking about a 6-day war? That sort of confusion in the region.
You see, the thing is, we should even be concerned. It was only under Nasser, Gamal Abdel Nasser's Egyptian Nasserism and Arab nationalism campaign, that you had Jordan, Syria, Egypt, all of them coming together to fight Israel. Aren't you worried that the war in Gaza, the Hamas was left alone? In the course of fighting this war, Israel has killed Hamas commanders. They've killed Hamas's head on the day that they were swearing in the new president of Iran.
In Iran?
Iran. Why did Iran? So what has Iran done about that?
Well, they've pushed about 300 anti-ballistic missiles, of course, which was waged.
Now that they have gone to, even the Lebanese government itself isn't looking to engage Israel in conventional warfare. It is more between Hezbollah, which commands a large swathe of southern Lebanon, versus Israel. The Lebanese government is more like seeking diplomacy. It is Hezbollah, which is like a political party in Lebanon, that is fighting Israel. So even in Lebanon, Iran is being mindful. The Lebanese government itself is also being mindful. This is strictly almost Hezbollah versus. So all those people who say they have a to settle with America and with Israel, as they normally do, they can back Hezbollah, and let's see how far that goes. But frankly speaking, when you look at an enemy that can sneak up under your cloak and be unthinkable. You saw the pager.
The pager.
Now, who are they going to hold for the The Mossad has not come out to say that they want to do it, although we know Israel.
No, they have, not the Mossad now, but the Israeli government have come up to say that they were responsible for that.
But the question is, the way in which they went to buy pagers and they didn't know that it was selling the pagers. What more do they have that they can say it is okay? Because those pagers was the attempt by Hezbollah to cut back from modern technology to avoid being
exactly. Very true.
And who are the companies that said they produce it? They only get license to the company in Hungary.
So scripturally, this
gone to Hungary and can't find anybody in Hungary.
So scripturally, this is looking like when Daniel, when David, went and took the sword of Saul and all that, and only for Saul to wake up and say, "Who took my sword?" They say, "Come on, if I would have killed you, I would have done that right there."
We should learn the lesson. I personally feel that there's something about Israel that the world is not able to properly fathom. And it's biblical for me, because you imagine a country at a point, who doesn't know sort of Eli Cohen? Not even Shula, Eli Cohen, when he was the chief defense advisor to the president of Syria. He was an Israeli agent. And I think that Israel has 1,001 of them everywhere. So before you even take the first move, they get to know what they're about to do. You've seen our pinpoint bombings of Hezbollah targets. Of course, in war there are other casualties, but Israel's constant upper hand in all these things should make us. I feel that, well, this is my own opinion.
Yeah.
I feel that the war it will be better if the Arab nations came together and made peace with Israel substantively.
Make peace with Israel.
Yes.
Which means that Israel will stop encroaching into lands that are not theirs.
No, that matter is highly,
because that is the crux of the matter here.
So if Israel will agree because where we are today, a two-state solution appears to be far from. But even the biggest Israeli hawk in Prime Minister Ariel Sharon, at the point he allowed for land to be given back to the Palestinian people, so they can. And Netanyahu, for all his militarism, isn't half as tough as Arik was. But Arik at the point came to say, you know what, let's. So what they can do, if such a template to be agreed upon, and then they agree to stop the aggression, I believe that they can sort of find a way to let the Palestinians breathe. But if you want to go to war with Israel, it looks like, why don't they see that this thing just isn't working?
Now, in 30 seconds, just before I let you go, because this is becoming interesting, Kamala Harris or Donald Trump presidency, which do you think would be more valuable in ending this crisis?
Let me state up front that. So, hold on first. These Israelis, the Jewish American voter, is a traditionally democratic inclined person, right? Okay, not even Republican. We'll talk about evangelical Christianity and the Bible and Israel's whatever. So, but Trump is pro-Israel,
100%,
pro-Jerusalem, capital of Israel, and everything. So, if he became president, it would be more of guns and boots and just wipe these people out and let only Israel be the occupier of that place. Kamala Harris won't do any more than what Biden is doing. But I feel that in terms of leadership strength, Trump will be a stronger, a more decisive person in the White House than Kamala will be on foreign policy.
Okay.
At least as touching Israel. Yes, but if Kamala Harris wins, I think either ways, Israel will still have the last laugh. Either ways, because both parties are decidedly pro-Israel. Obama, who was trying to make peace with both parties, but I think that Trump and Harris are clearly decidedly pro-Israel in their approach to policy. So it's like 6 out of a dozen. It's the same thing.
Very true. Thank you so very much, Cyril Abaku, for your time. I truly did appreciate it. All right, so that's all we have for the Israel, Lebanon, Gaza feud. But from there, let's move to the United States of America, just where we have that Donald Trump has said he will meet with Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky. That is after he criticized him on the campaign trail, where he raised doubts about Ukraine's ability to beat Russia in the war. Though both gentlemen have never met physically, Ukraine's leader said he believed Trump doesn't really know how to stop the war. Kamala Harris, who conversely has promised complete support for Ukraine, has condemned Donald Trump for desiring to have Ukraine cede territories just so they can reach an agreement with Russia to stop the bloodshed and carnage in that part of the world. If you ask me, I would say, honestly, sometimes you want to ask, who is at fault here? Is it Vladimir Putin, whose authoritarian tendency had made him a despotic emperor, or who wants a marriage at all cost on a country 20 times smaller than its size, that is Ukraine, or Vladimir Zelensky, an actor and comedian turned president of Ukraine, whom many have said he possibly still believes that war is sound camera and action on a movie set, therefore finds it difficult to reach a negotiation with the Kremlin. Well, that's just about the size we have today on politics around the world. We'd love to say thank you for your time. We truly do appreciate it. But for more information, please do well to visit us at enterprisetvnews.com, and also like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV 7. I am Henry Ikwebika. I'll see you next time on Politics Around the World. Thank you for watching, and bye-bye.